There's a special kind of love that exists between a dog and their owner, a love that transcends words, a bond that defies explanation. It's in the way they greet you at the door, their tail wagging like a metronome set to joy. It's in the way they curl up beside you on your hardest days, as if to say, I'm here and you're not alone. But what happens when that bond is tested by the hardest goodbye of all? This is the story of Duke, a devoted German shepherd, and his owner, Michael. It's a story about love, loss, and the final gift a dog can give, a reminder of what truly matters in life. Today, we're sharing a tale that will remind you why every moment with your dog is precious and why their love leaves a paw print on your heart that lasts forever. But what happened next will leave you in awe. Chapter 1. A bond like no other. Duke had been Michael's shadow for over a decade. From the moment Michael brought him home as a spirited, black and tan puppy, they were inseparable. Duke wasn't just a dog. He was Michael's confidant, his protector, and his best friend. Their days were filled with adventure, hiking through rugged trails, playing fetch in the backyard, and even the occasional road trip where Duke would stick his head out the window, ears flapping in the wind. Duke had a way of making even the simplest moments feel extraordinary. But as the years passed, Michael began to notice subtle changes. Duke's once boundless energy had waned, and his movements were slower, more deliberate. His muzzle had turned silver, and he spent more time resting in his favorite spot by the fireplace than chasing after his beloved tennis ball. One evening, as they sat together on the porch watching the sunset, Duke rested his head on Michael's lap and let out a soft sigh. Michael gently stroked his fur, his heart aching with the knowledge that their time together was growing shorter. "You're my best boy, Duke," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I don't know what I'll do without you." Duke looked up at him, his eyes filled with a quiet understanding. It was as if he was saying, "It's okay. We'll face this together." Chapter 2. Facing the inevitable. As the weeks went by, Duke's health continued to decline. He struggled to climb the stairs to their bedroom, so Michael moved his bed downstairs, right beside the couch where they spent their evenings. Duke's appetite waned, and his once shiny coat grew dull. Michael did everything he could to make Duke comfortable. He cooked special meals, carried him outside when his legs grew too weak, and spent hours gently brushing his fur. But despite his efforts, he could see the toll it was taking on Duke. One night, as they sat together by the fireplace, Duke let out a soft whimper. Michael knelt beside him, his heart breaking as he stroked Duke's head. "I'm here, buddy," Michael said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're not alone." Duke looked up at him, his eyes filled with a mixture of love and pain. It was as if he was trying to tell Michael something important. The next morning, Michael took Duke to the vet. The news was heartbreaking. Duke's body was failing him, and it was time to consider letting him go. Michael's world felt like it was crumbling. How could he say goodbye to the dog who had been his constant companion, his rock, his best friend? But deep down, he knew what he had to do. Chapter 3. The Last Days. Michael decided to make Duke's final days as special as possible. He took time off work, determined to fill every moment with love and joy. They revisited all their favorite spots, the hiking trail where Duke had once bounded ahead with endless energy, the park where they'd played fetch for hours, and even the quiet spot by the lake where they'd watched the sunrise together. Duke's energy was limited, but his spirit was still strong. He wagged his tail as they drove to each location, his eyes bright with recognition and happiness. Michael took photos, wanting to capture every precious moment, but he also made sure to put the camera down and simply be present. One evening, as they sat by the lake, Duke rested his head on Michael's lap and let out a contented sigh. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Michael gently stroked Duke's fur, his heart heavy but full. "You've given me so much, Duke," Michael said, his voice trembling. "You've been my best friend, my protector, my family. I don't know how to say goodbye." Duke looked up at him, his eyes filled with a quiet understanding. It was as if he was saying, "You don't have to say goodbye. I'll always be with you." Chapter 4. The Last Goodbye. The day Michael had been dreading finally arrived. He woke up early, his heart heavy but determined to make Duke's final moments as peaceful and loving as possible. He cooked Duke's favorite meal, grilled chicken and sweet potatoes, and sat with him as he ate, savoring every bite. When it was time, Michael carried Duke to the car, cradling him gently in his arms. The drive to the vet was quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the engine and Duke's steady breathing. At the vet's office, Michael held Duke close, his tears falling onto Duke's fur as he whispered words of love and gratitude. "You've been my everything, Duke," Michael said, his voice breaking. "You've taught me so much about love, loyalty, and living in the moment. I'll carry you with me forever." Duke looked up at him, his eyes filled with a quiet peace. He licked Michael's hand one last time, as if to say, "Thank you. I love you." As the vet administered the final injection, Michael held Duke close, his heart breaking, but also filled with an overwhelming sense of love. Duke's breathing slowed, and then, with one final sigh, he was gone. In that moment, Michael felt a profound sense of loss, but also a deep gratitude. Duke had given him so much, not just in life, but in his final moments, too. Chapter 5: A Love That Lives On. In the days and weeks that followed, Michael struggled to adjust to life without Duke. The house felt emptier, quieter, and the absence of Duke's presence was a constant ache in his heart. But as time passed, Michael began to notice something remarkable. Duke's love was still with him. It was in the way the sunlight streamed through the window onto Duke's favorite spot by the fireplace. It was in the memories that brought both tears and smiles, the way Duke would wag his tail at the sound of Michael's voice, the way he'd nudge Michael's hand for attention, the way he'd curl up beside him on the couch. Michael realized that Duke's final gift wasn't just the love they had shared, but the lessons he had taught him about loyalty, about living in the moment, and about the power of unconditional love. One day, Michael decided to honor Duke's memory by volunteering at a local animal shelter. He wanted to give other dogs the same love and care that Duke had given him. As he walked through the rows of kennels, he felt a sense of peace. Duke's legacy would live on, not just in his heart, but in the lives of the dogs he helped. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to appreciate the dogs in your life. Whether they're by your side or waiting at the Rainbow Bridge, their love is a gift we should never take for granted. Share this video with someone who believes in the power of a dog's love. And if you're thinking about adding a furry friend to your family, consider adoption. There are countless dogs out there, just like Duke, waiting for their chance to change someone's life. Subscribe to True Love Dogs for more stories that celebrate the incredible bond between humans and their four-legged heroes. Together, let's make the world a better place, one paw at a time.